Okay, well, here we are. This is the Education and Outreach Committee for the Sustainability Commission. Seems like a good order of operations is for you to start by reviewing the proposal and then see who nominate a chair for the committee and then discuss any next steps. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
So why don't I share the committee proposal? Here we go. Are you guys seeing it?
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
Okay. So just to clarify, if we're meeting for 4 months, does this today count as one of those 4 months, January, February, March, April? Or because that means we got to get something done today here. Let's see, establish goals, key audiences, drafting outreach strategy.
Are there materials from last year? I can't remember.
Yeah, the commission has a pretty good tabling kit that includes like a bunch of useful brochures and like handouts, a spin the wheel game, a little dot survey. That's what the commission currently has, I think, developed.
Does that live in your office?
Okay. Yep, I've got a tote.
Great.
And whenever someone wants to table, then they just meet up with me and I give it to them. It has like a tablecloth and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So who wants to be chair? I think, and then once that person is nominated, maybe they can kind of facilitate the meeting and sort of next steps.
I nominate Emily.
I love it. I'd like to know what all is involved in that responsibility. Yes. Facilitating meetings.
I mean, it's facilitating the meetings and sort of keeping the committee on track with the proposal as it's written. Are you interested? I mean, Jan, was there, or like, does anyone specifically want to raise their hand? Or I don't.
A volunteer? Yeah, no, I prefer not to. Would have nominated Lily, but I know Lily's got lots of school responsibilities and that might be tough. So That was just and Mitra and Devin are already doing other responsibilities. So I guess Devin's not an officer anymore, so she could do it. There you go.
Well, I've done it before.
Yes, you have.
But I think the other part that was really helpful when I did do it was just having quick email exchange with Danielle about agenda items and or making the agendas a little bit.
Yeah.
They're pretty loose for the committees, but still if we're going to have a guest speaker, I'm not saying we are, but organizing a little bit, not necessarily with a separate meeting, but with some email exchange with Danielle, just to be sure everybody's kind of on the same page and what we're going to do each time. And but it's not like a commission meeting agenda or anything
Right.
close to being like that.
I think that what was helpful when Dennis was chair was that he kind of served as the focal point for communications around doing some tabling and that sort of thing. That was helpful.
Well, I'm not opposed to being chair. I just want to make sure I'm fully understanding the role. It's certainly in alignment with what I do on the day-to-day basis, and I am very interested on the behalf of this committee to be out in the public and doing tabling and sort of auditing our materials and seeing what can be added this year, seeing what maybe needs to be updated, and sort of being the point person, gathering resources that we can provide to commissioners, and then I'm not opposed. I'm also very busy, but I think we all are. So,
well, maybe before that, I mean, is there there's a larger discussion as an order of what do you all see as the first few steps here, and then who maybe wants to take those on, and maybe that would indicate where there's the energy.
I feel like we should think about if what we're doing this year is just a continuation of the tabling we've already done, or if we're actually going to spend time I guess thinking about the things informally surveying the community, that kind of thing. Since I feel like we have accomplished a lot and we've developed those materials, but if we wanted to, we could just keep tabling and not do as much else. But there's also the option of trying some new things.
Yeah, well, Jan and Lily, I think, were the two carryovers from last year, this committee, right? Was anyone else on the committee last year?
Mitra and I were not, because we were
I think it was Jan, Lily, Dennis, and John Fisher.
Right.
Yeah.
So and I know at the end of last year there were thoughts shared around new ways to do engagement beyond just tabling.
Yeah, I mean, the tabling I think is good, but it is limited. There are limited opportunities, and it's just a certain thing. So I think looking at other opportunities is a good idea.
And I think tabling gets commissioner burnout pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think that was what was the issue, and it's summer when we do neighborhood associations, which are great because it is a great way to get a lot of people, involved from that aren't what is the word, self-selecting, when you go to certain kinds of events. This is people are just there to have food and have a good time, so they're not necessarily at a home show or or at an environmental thing where they're already environmentally focused, so you kind of get better outreach. But there is an issue with the burnout and getting people to volunteer, and it seemed like there was a lot of asking over and over and over, and that's not who
it seems
like be.
Right, we could try to target a few of those public outreach tabling opportunities and, maybe, I don't know, 4 to 6 or something, that over the course of the year, what would be the good ones, and then not worry as much about doing some ad hoc. And then I think we could tighten up our materials for those. And if we are going to think about doing some surveying of some kind, which I think is a good idea, we could develop those materials that we could use both at the outreach opportunities and in other ways. Which I don't know exactly what those would be, but I think that kind of information could be valuable to the council. They like it when we do things where we're interacting with the community and able to report back to them about what some of their issues are, that sort of thing. So I think that's good, and looking for ways to do that would be
Yeah.
good.
They love that, but it's kind of funny because they love any feedback. Like it could be
Right.
2 people giving them the feedback.
That's right. I know.
And they're like, "Yay, it's the best thing
Yeah.
ever." So that's kind of
Well-
funny. But I know Mitra, I don't know if Mitra's listening or not, but she's really been an advocate over like the entire time I've been on the the commission, I think, for getting something on the website.
Mhm.
Even though, again, that's a self-selecting group of people that look at the website, and how many people actually look at the website. This is like, how many hits? Is there any data like lurking anywhere
Well,
about how many?
what kind of information would you want on the website?
Well, that was always like, is like a video. I think Mitra's been like of commissioners talking about the commission and what it is, and that sort of ongoing conversation we've had that was sort of sprung off the PowerPoint. Like what a way to immortalize the PowerPoint on the website in some way, whether it's a video or someone narrating the PowerPoint, that kind of thing. I know she's always kind of brings that up over and over, not in a bad way, like in a good way, like, but then it always comes back to that conversation we have, which is, well, how much access does that really have? And then it's like, does that matter? And then, but from the neighborhood association, we actually got like, there's data from our web host or whatever. I know it's different with the city, but we could look and see how many people looked at our website, like actually open, then like how many people actually clicked on something. Like there's just looking at it and then like actually interacting with it. And I was wondering, like, if there's if a little bit, even a taste of that kind of data, that could drive like whether or not we actually do this thing or not. Like,
yeah, we do have analytics on our website. I don't think they're great. But I also think if there's going to be something created for the website, it should be like developed for that platform. And I think that was the discussion that happened with the PowerPoint. Like a video of someone giving a PowerPoint presentation might not be the most engaging way to deliver that information on a website.
Right. I don't think that was the thing. I think it was just like, okay, we keep talking about it, but what is the thing? Is that going to be something that we do in this committee? Are we going to kick it down the road again? Or is it like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, because like a lot of that information from the PowerPoint is on the website. Like the PowerPoint goes through like the CRO, CAP 2.0, waste, buildings, transportation, resources that exist across those different areas. Like a lot of that is on our website. Like you can, there's a page about CAP 2.0. There's a whole page about like waste prevent, so it directs you. So yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not an advocate necessarily. Like, I'm just saying that was something that comes up over and over. Sorry, Lily, I didn't mean to.
Oh, you're good. I was thinking like about other like avenues for visibility for the commission. So, for example, since we provided funding, like during my time on the commission, I think to 2 organizations. I feel like I think the UO students came back to tell us about their project, but what if we like somehow capture like that impact of providing the funding support, like maybe just like a small one pager on these projects that have been completed, and we have them send us some information, and then we put that on the website. Because to me, it feels like when we go to the commission's website, it's like kind of bare bones in the sense that it doesn't really I think it doesn't really capture impact on the community in
It's
that
Mhm.
it's
sense.
pretty, yeah, it's a little dry. So this kind of comes always back to the question of who are we trying to reach and what's our goal in communicating with people. So if it's to promote that this commission exists and what we do, I mean, providing some funding for community events, and we want to promote that, get people more interested in that, that's a good thing. Is it that we want to uh, get people's opinion about particular sustainability issues related to the city? Is it what we know? What's our goal?
I feel like we've like met some of the second goal you said a bit more already, like just through our work through tabling.
Mhm.
But in my opinion, if we like do something that we haven't done before, at least try it a little bit, like getting the project funding information, it's a chance for a new way to engage the community by
Mhm.
like getting the word out there about the commission while at the same time like showing them how the commission operates in a
Yeah,
sense.
I think that's a good idea. And we could do actually a little, like you say, like a one pager or something, but we could also do like a short video clip about it, perhaps, or something like that. Do something a little more interesting, fun, and different than a paper. Um,
In the scope, it mentioned social media. Is there a specific commission account or is it through the city account?
It'd be through the city
Yeah.
accounts.
Okay.
And the commission kind of went down that road last year
Mhm.
where I'm trying to remember what the conversation was. Like Lily had developed this template of like um
we
when
had a
there's an
really,
upcoming meeting
yeah, we
to
had a
advertise like
nice
what was
format developed for what upcoming meetings and how we would promote what the topic was and let a commissioner have a statement about it and everything. It was pretty cool, honestly. But it was not really possible to do through the city's accounts, right? Isn't that how it
I
came
think
down?
what it was decided, I think what I remember our comms director saying was like a better place to do that would be through the newsletters. Um, I mean, I think a lot of our accounts, like, it's a lot of haters on social media, and like,
Ah,
you're not necessarily reaching a demographic that's gonna come
respond
to,
positively.
yeah. Whereas like our newsletters, we actually have really good um open rates on our newsletters, and
Which
um
newsletters do you mean?
there's like the transportation newsletter, there's the
Okay,
planning newsletter. I
the
mean, and they go to like,
parks, yeah,
yeah, parks, they go to like 6 or 7 thousand
all right.
residents and have like a 60 to 80% open
Hmm,
rate. And so um
that's a cool idea,
we have
actually.
found that to be a more effective way to get the word out about things like surveys and
Yeah,
meeting events and stuff like that. So that could be an
I
option, is like including an announcement about the upcoming meeting topic.
I like that idea of figuring out when those newsletters are going out and targeting each one of them with some sort of an article, whether it's about upcoming meetings or something. I think that's a really good idea. If they're open to that, Danielle, in terms of space.
I think so. I mean, I think it would depend on the content, right? Like
Yeah,
that's the thing, is there's um transportation, it's more transportation focused.
right,
Like parks
right.
would be more like Golden Gardens or um urban forestry. Planning is a little broader, so probably a lot of
Mhm.
the topics that the commission looks at could fit into planning. So yeah, those are sort of
Yeah.
some options.
It seems like we could probably create a promotional calendar. This committee could,
Mhm.
based on what we already know, like our meetings are going to be about, and where the most appropriate the appropriate newsletter to place those announcements and pieces in, just based on our schedule that we already have set, right? And then for whatever newsletters that don't directly correlate, we could think about other topics or like perhaps placing a survey or just like a general announcement about the commission in some of those other publication, newsletters.
Like it.
Oh, yeah, I remember looking at this.
Does
That's
the
a good
newsletter
idea.
go out every month?
Yeah.
Like
They
we could,
do? I thought it was a kind of periodical, like, I guess I'm thinking of stormwater one is just a couple times a year, right?
Oh, yeah, that one's just a couple times a year, but there's like transportation planning and parks go out every month.
and
Oh,
it goes out from the different departments. So we're not talking about like one overarching city.
There
right.
isn't really
Newsletter.
one overarching
Yeah.
city newsletter.
Yeah.
I'm just a
So
big
if
fan
we
of
had
it.
all of those pieces ready, we could give them to the departments, like the marketing people, the PI people, and say, please put this in or before this, ahead of this event, or if it's not time sensitive, they could put it in whatever newsletter they have.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Mhm. Like it.
I mean, another thought too is, I mean, we could, again, I'm always beating the homeowner association drum because I spent so much time in that world and I'm free now. But I mean, they put out newsletters as well. And so as a person who is on the receiving end and building those newsletters, pretty much different groups, I mean, city groups, because like Cindy Kohler at OEC would send us one and she'd want to like, oh, could you put this in your newsletter? Or the library, or I mean, we get all kinds of stuff coming in that we then spew back out to the public in the form of a flyer in our MailChimp, right? So that not all of the associations have that kind of mailing or digital mailing capability, but a lot of them do. And that would be, I think, a way like, hey, can you throw this in your newsletter?
Wait, so it starts to become a lot though, like especially when you think of timing and like each newsletter has a different contact person and a different date in the month that they send
So
and need
quite
submission.
honestly,
What would be
it's easier than that. It's like you send it to the general association email address and say, please add to your newsletter. And they pick and choose when they put it in. And they, you know what I mean? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
we've got room, let's throw it in. And it doesn't necessarily, unless it's like, if you send, please add these meeting dates, you just send that out like on the first of the month and then hope for the best. I mean, you can't manage that. No, absolutely not. It's if you let them manage it, you just send them the information and they'll
So does it get
usually, like,
pushed through? It gets pushed through Cindy Kohler or
yeah.
oh,
No, the associations do it. I mean, you just would have
Okay.
to mail them like, so you figure there's only a handful of the total, which is the active, which is what, 23, I forget. And only a handful of them have digital mailings anyway. So let's say you're sending it out to 5 email addresses, you could do them all at once, which is what people always do. And so it hits all the associations and like, hey, could you put this in your next newsletter? You don't have to know when their newsletter is. And in fact, they don't always know when their newsletter is. And so just an idea of like a totally different group of people getting.
Devin, are you talking about neighborhood newsletters or you said homeowner newsletters?
I'm sorry, I'm neighborhood association
Okay.
newsletter.
Okay.
Sorry if that slipped out. That was a mistake.
And perhaps we could craft like an evergreen piece that like could go in at any point, that they could, that we could send out like once a quarter and be like, put it in when you can,
I mean, this is kind of a crazy idea that no one's going to want to work on because it's work. But so, for example, when I was on Southeast Neighbors, I started a environmental stewardship committee and within the association. And what we would do in that committee was like not every month, but try to generate a seasonal appropriate whether it was information like about leave the leaves, or, just pick your thing, like whatever it was, like something, oh, do you know that putting zinc on your roof is bad for invertebrates? And like, what are the alternatives? And I would write them up, and they were short, and we'd throw it out there. And it was like, be in our newsletter for the association, but it was like from the Environmental Stewardship Committee. And that is something we could consider doing, is like, because we're all about spreading information, and it's sustainability commission oriented, and we could rotate through people on this committee and say, okay, I'm going to write a few or put together a few, or I could even donate my leaf one. It's still out there. It could, and we could say, hey, this is our, top news from the Sustainability Commission, like how you can ... kind of like what John Fisher does, right? Like in his, but it could be a little more sanctioned, a little more refined, maybe pretty graphics.
It's educational, and it's also raising awareness about the commission itself.
Just thought of that when I was, thinking about what we put in our newsletters when we were a little more.
I love that.
Are we talking about doing a newsletter or more like social media? Because that seems like it'd be cool. It's like a social media post or something. But I know like I get like 5 million newsletters and I don't really read a lot of them because I just can't. I don't really know what the readership is on newsletters and if someone would want to sign up for another.
No, that's not what we were saying. It's not an independent one. Like, say, for example, the only thing that it's a brainstorm, right? So whatever, I was just saying we could send it out to the neighborhood associations for their newsletters and say, hey, can you add this into your newsletter? And these people are signed up for that newsletter, and there's a lot of readership of those.
Yeah, I mean, Wastewise does a regular newsletter, and they're always looking for content. So plugging into like having a section of existing newsletter.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that too, just like other educational newsletters. Bring, of course, Wastewise, Beyond Toxics, like they would totally plug like small content pieces in to
and it could be reused if it's some sort of graphic as like a social media post. I don't know. I totally missed the first half of this meeting. I'm very sorry, everyone. It was not intended or wanted or happy.
I asked about social media, but it doesn't seem like really feasible to get our messaging into the city's sort of calendar process. It's like, that seems like a lot. They plan out way ahead of time. And
was that the issue originally, or was it just that we wouldn't be able to update the flyer every single month? Because I thought we almost had it posted.
I think there was a meeting when Marion, our communications director, came, and I don't remember what happened. I'm just remembering it that she had steered the committee away from social media.
I thought it was that they didn't want us using the citywide accounts, but working through Public Works account was a little bit different.
Yeah, that might be
easier. Right.
I mean, I know anything that we do will take some effort, but I was just the thing that and tell me if this is an appropriate time to bring this up, but it seems like our big bottleneck for this messaging and these conversations is having to find commissioners to table. So having not all of our eggs in one basket and having various different marketing or communication assets out there or avenues, as opposed to just only having that one presentation or conversation, I think would be a good idea of something to think about with this committee. Developing, whether it's little pieces that go into other newsletters is one good thing, but that's not as much of a back and forth, like surveys. And I saw, polls, those are great. again, they take, but social media, you can do polls and stuff like that too. So I was just thinking social media is a little bit more receptive for like the back and forth. Like the role that we play as a commission is like communicating out to the public what the city is doing, what, what's happening, what we're about, and then also getting information back and having conversations that maybe city representatives can't have. So is there a way that isn't physically tabling that we could do that, I guess?
I think that's kind of what led to this. We were talking about how tabling was sort of not sustainable.
Mm. I got you there. Fun. Yeah.
No, I'm always on fire. So, yeah, so that's kind of led to like, so what are these other things? What could they be? And I think that's why it's tough. It's hard to figure out how to get input. Output is easy comparatively.
I feel like another issue is, oh, sorry.
No, please, Lily, go ahead. Sorry.
I feel like another thing is like all of our education and outreach work is like mostly done in the spring to the summer, since that's when the committees start. So if we can come up with like Devin was saying, like the newsletter thing, where if we were to just have it be like the land acknowledgements, where like every commissioner just needs to come up with maybe like a short 3 sentence blurb, and then we can actually have that like year round. I'm trying to think like what would be sustainable.
Yeah.
And then would we have to have
Go
all
for
of
it.
these approved by the whole commission before we send them out as a message from the commission? It seems like that would have to be the case. So it might be, if we do choose to do something like this, we might like have a submission time when like at a meeting we present like this idea, a bunch of people submit their little things all at once so that we can get them all approved, and then we can kind of like push them out on a regular basis.
I'm wanting just to clarify, what are we talking about right now? We're talking about getting commissioners to write short blurbs that would be published in newsletters?
I
Is
think
that
so,
what
yeah.
okay.
My understanding was like that we wanted to inform more people about our meetings, right? To watch them and to get the information from the presenters. So that's like, we can write up a description, we basically already have that for every single upcoming meeting that then would be pushed via city departmental newsletters partially, right? No, am I misunderstanding that?
I think that seems reasonable.
Okay, and then in addition to that awareness of the meetings, those are very easy to write. Like I'm sure I could get it together for us. But then we have a calendar, so we make sure we get them to the various department newsletters ahead of the right meetings, times, months. And then in addition to that, creating these sort of like small bite-sized, newsletter articles, but very short, that are like educational, that touch on some of the the environmental sustainable practices that residents can take based on seasonality, and then underwriting it by the Eugene Sustainability Commission, and then like creating a list of partners essentially that would be willing to place those into their newsletters, their publications. And sounds like the neighborhood association, there might be some other educational partners, WasteWise, obviously. So like each of us on this committee could write 1 or 2 of those, and then we would have 5, 10. And I don't know if would we want to have everybody on the commission write one, or
well,
I think that would be hard to wrangle, actually.
Yeah.
Here's an idea. We have been producing public, like, documents through our committee work for the last couple of years that are about suggestions of like what to
Yeah.
do in a emergency when your power goes out, and like, so
Right.
why don't we just take that
Yeah.
information we've already
Tie it
produced and
together.
approved as a commission and
Yeah.
chop it up into little bite-size
Yeah.
like bits so that we're not having to give
Well,
ourselves.
Reinvent the wheel. Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
And we then could link that,
Yeah.
we could take a bit of it, but we could link the rest of the document to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we could make it,
We don't
you
have
know,
too many of those, but we have a few. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we have not to, we don't even have to use the entire documents that we've been producing. We could chop one document up into three
Mhm.
tidbits of information or whatever we want to call them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And just like, it could be as simple as like, did you know this is a sustainable possible like option if your power goes out? And then one idea. And then, in the event of a weather emergency, think about this instead of
Mhm.
this as another one. And like, just,
Yeah. Exactly.
I think people consume and remember information more that way too. And it's really about exposure,
Mhm.
of this. We've already produced these documents and gathered this information, done a lot of work to get it together, but like making it more, like getting it in front of more eyeballs and having it be consumable or memorable and actionable, I think is a
One or two
positive.
of those could also be about the funding we've done for events that Lily was talking about. We could
Yeah.
do a couple of those too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this was the impact, are you, do you want funding? Are you interested in funding? Here's how you get
Right.
connected.
Mhm.
So with the tabling, do you think that the burnout was related to like every time there was a new event, like coming back and asking who's going to sign up, like over and over again? Is it like burnout because it just keeps coming back around and there's only so many people that sign up?
Well,
Right.
I think when you sign up for a commission, it's already a volunteer position and you're committing a certain amount of time. But
Yeah.
then these are like 3 and 4 hours at a time of extra time each
Yeah.
one. And
Weekends.
it's like,
Saturday in
yeah,
the summer.
on
Yeah.
optimal times where like people are wanting to spend time with their families. And like for me, I have never been able to do it because I don't have the time. I work 4 jobs and I have a family. So it's not sustainable to keep expecting this
Yeah.
commission who's already donating their time to continuously put out more and more and more and more. Like,
Would it be possible for us to just like identify the top, the top events that we feel like are the most important for us to be at, like for the rest of the year, and just bring it once and say, here's the sign up, like sign up. And so it's not a fatigue of it, like like it continues to come up. It's just like it's set for the year.
I think that would be really helpful.
I think we kind of did that though. I mean, Dennis
Okay.
really kind of did that.
He
I mean,
did.
that was like, here are the event dates. And it was really like, okay, we still don't have anybody for, okay, we
Right.
still don't have anybody for. And it just was, I think it's in the summer, almost like all of those, right? Like I was saying, and
Mhm.
they're on, like Danielle was saying, on the weekends, and they're long, and it does take up some time, and you need to set up a table and a tent, which we have, and all, that kind of stuff happens. So it's just a little bit more labor intensive, and you need to have 2 commissioners, I believe, right, Danielle? And then there was some confusion about if you were, for a little while, like you and either you or Ian needed to be there as well. That was something that happened after I left, I think. I don't remember what went on
I
with
don't
that,
know
but
about that.
I don't know.
I just had an idea. I literally produce fix-it fairs and fix-it booths for the city and the county. And that would be it's like tabling. I mean, it would be a really easy thing to add, something to. So is there a model of this tabling that we could do where we could do it more passively, plug into regular events and have someone trained up to do it that's like already doing those events. I mean, let's start thinking about what this could look like where if the obstacle is commissioner time, like what else could this look like? Because I mean, I think it'd be really easy to plug something into the Fix It fairs. We do have people tabling, and they're everyone who comes to a Fix It fair are ripe for information like this. You know, they're already on the bandwagon for sustainability.
Mhm.
This is something they'd love.
Does do we look at the home shows as a priority? Because I understand those are so long. Like Bring gets invited, when we get invited to events, we don't commit to the whole event if we don't have the capacity for it. Like
Right.
we say we'll be there for a day, we'll be there for an afternoon. Not the home shows; those are a little different. But like if it's a community event and it's 2 days, 3 days, like we don't always commit to the whole time. And oftentimes the producers are like, "That's fine as long as you can be there." For a portion of it, that would be great.
Another thing, like if we have a poll or something, or maybe we come up with a few polls that like we can reach out to the city, the people that are doing these presentations to us at our meetings and ask, is there like the poll that we had that was really successful is one that came out like it was a food waste prevention or like why we initiated this committee about like why are we not composting food in potentially multi-family housing or why aren't single family houses using the established system that is already in place to do this? And we came up with a poll and we just handed it over to Lane County Waste Management to do. So it was like really easy to add on to that. And if we had something like that that felt fun, like a game, or even if we incentivized it somehow, that we could just hand over to people already tabling to get information from the community about topics of sustainability, or even on behalf of the commission. Like, if we're curious, like, where are people actually stand on this issue or that issue? Maybe a topic that, like, is one that we're focusing on any particular year. But like something like that where, we're not requiring, I know we can't do our big presentation, but I don't think we were doing our big presentation at these tabling things
No.
anyway, right? Like
No.
scheduling presentations at Rotary meetings is one thing. And I still think that we should have a video version recorded of that presentation that we could just hand over to people or have on our website to give more information about what the Sustainability Commission is. That's just a separate thing, but I mean, education and outreach is about communicating out like what we do and also getting input from the community. And that's a special thing about our commission that like the city, like we're this liaison between city council on topics of sustainability with the community. So what does that look like? How do we get that like funnel of the public through the commission and then deliver that data to the city council? Sorry, I just said a lot. I apologize for going off. I'm trying to make up for the first half of the meeting I missed. Sorry.
It's okay. We talked about that too.
Okay.
I feel like my observation is like the signups don't work super well because like there's so many events that we ask for signups for, but like I like what Emily was saying about like identifying a few events, and I think like we really make it just a few events.
Mhm.
Like in my opinion, to me it sounds like more appealing to table at like say one of those summer events like the Asian celebration, for example, versus a neighborhood event like in the spring when everyone is probably busy. So maybe we pick like maybe just like 3 or 4 events for a year and we stick to that and we let commissioners know like of months in advance. Because for me, I feel like one of the big barriers is like usually we hear about these events 2 or 3 weeks in advance, and by then I already have something planned for those days. But
Mhm.
if you asked me to table in July, in like June, I think I would be able to make it.
Yeah, and we have like we could do we're working on the Reimagine Earth Day event again, so that would be a
Mhm.
really good one.
Yeah,
And then if we did a big Fix It Fair, that would be a good one because those are already only 3 or 4 hour events and they're not like
yeah.
full day long multi-day events like the home shows. And also I think we should think about like who's at those events, like and like if we're trying to be pretty broad in our reach or like who's going to come talk to us? Who do we want to come talk to us? Do we want just like
Mhm.
people like we're getting pretty select groups of people if we're going to a neighborhood association of people, which is not to downplay that because I think it's important to find that out. But like, is a home show, there's a lot of different people that come to home shows, different walks of life, but most of them probably homeowners, you know. But some of these other events, like the
Mhm.
Asian celebration, like we could target events that are more likely to have like a more diverse group of folks walking through there, something like that.
It's funny because I just pointed out that I felt that having been to a bunch of them, the neighborhood association events are actually pretty diverse because they're just people from all over the neighborhood. Like they're not there because they're home buyers or they're not there because of an environmental issue and they're not there because of fill in the blank. They're
Mhm.
just there to eat food and listen to music and have a good time. So it's kind of like it is a pretty big slice and people come from outside the neighborhood. So I don't really think that is an example of one that's finite, but I do agree that I think there should be maybe like 4 events and they should be spread out over the entire year instead of this concentration in the summer when the commission isn't even meeting anyway. So that gets a little bit hard for communication and
Mhm.
people's time to go pick up stuff if they need to from Danielle. And is Danielle on vacation because it's summer? And, all these different
Yeah.
things like jack up that
Mhm.
concentration of everything being in the summer where I like this sort of like, okay, there's this Fix It Fair. It's in, I'm making it up in February. And okay, there's the
Mhm.
Asian celebration and that's in whenever that is. And, maybe just do it that way where there's not
Mhm.
like,
Yeah. I agree with what's being said. I think that it is the fact that it's been a little we tried to plan ahead on some events and that with somewhat mixed success and then would come back if people hadn't signed up. So I think trying to concentrate on like I said maybe 4 events over the year, 4 to 6 events at the most. And then I think that it's been a little disappointing that more commissioners didn't want to do that, but there are people who are more flexible. So I think if some people can do 1 or 2 and others can do more, I think we can probably get them all covered and even have some flexibility to do some um, that may arise that we didn't know about. If we just kind of get the basic plan done, I think that would be a lot easier for people to digest.
Also, I think maybe at the start of the year we like just make the suggestion. We have these like 4 to 6 picked out, but then we make the suggestion that commissioners check out their neighborhood organizations and see if there's an event because I personally would be more likely to go to my neighborhood association's
Mhm, mhm.
event than like one across the city. I'd feel kind of out of place there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That totally makes sense.
Although
I also
I think
have,
that
yeah.
that was Dennis's approach, I think,
Right.
for the last 2 years was like, commissioners, tell me when your next neighborhood association is and would you want to go? And I think he
Yeah.
struggled with that
Yeah.
too.
Since
So
there are so I don't even know how many neighborhood associations are currently having regular events over the summer, but is a few for sure. Some are bigger and some are smaller. You think 4? Um, you're muted, so I'm
all
not sure
right,
what you
probably
said.
4, I'm guessing 4 or 5. It's not a
Yeah.
ton, right? Because it's expensive
Yeah.
and hard to do.
Yeah.
So
So maybe well, if we want to do 1 or 2 of those, but not all of them, we could try to rotate over the years, I guess, if others. But I think we should think about the ones that get the southeast one gets a pretty good turnout. The others are smaller, a lot smaller. So we
It
want
sounds
to,
like y'all are talking about like summer just like barbecues and picnics and things that they do in the but what about like the meetings that happen like once a month or once a quarter? Could we just I mean, I would be happy to go to any and all of those. Like I'm, and just say like briefly like I'm a representative, like even if they didn't want me to talk, just to be there and say like I'm here as a resource. I have some resources, and I would bet a lot of them would be interested in having one of us talk briefly,
we
not like
did
a full
that.
presentation. Yeah. Okay.
We tried doing that a couple years
Yeah.
ago. And Dennis came and talked at Southeast Neighbors. It was just a regular meeting. There wasn't attendance. I mean, people are welcome to come, but they don't. I mean,
I see.
whatever, it's how it rolls. But it was really good because it educated all the board about it, but it did kind of, it was a big time sink, I think, for commissioners. Just to go and do that. And because that was an initial idea, like, hey, can we just come and tell you what the Sustainability Commission is? And then you can tell the neighborhood or whoever shows up will know. But I think it just sort of was another situation. I mean, if you're happy to do that, go for it in a lot of ways. Because what you just reach out and say, can I come and talk to you guys about the Sustainability Commission? And as long as you like stick to the script, essentially that's in the PowerPoint, it's pretty straightforward. But I think it was really hard. Like people just were sort of like, oh yeah, maybe. I mean, it was just like not
and for
that
the
well
resources,
received.
I mean, and for like the time, like it, like for a commissioner to go to this and then only talk to like 8 to 12 people, maybe it just didn't seem like it was totally
Or 5.
Or 5.
What if
And then the tech, honestly, and even like this sounds simple, but like the tech at the neighborhood association meetings can vary. And every single time there was like a technology hiccup that like the presentation was not able to be aired.
Like the NLC, when I did the NLC, I did the presentation to the NLC, and it was, I mean,
I know.
it was,
and then one time it was
interesting.
like
I'm just gonna say it was an interesting experience.
One time they couldn't get into the building, so they had to move to like the Y and
oh right, I forgot about when we had to go to the Y.
So we've had a few hits and misses.
Is it possible to just give them paper surveys and have them like distribute them
I think
over time? I don't know.
Well, what if we had
won't work with the neighborhood associations because they don't come into contact with the people.
Okay.
And they can't afford to do mailings, especially now that there's almost like no mailing budget anymore. But what they do is they, again, going back to their newsletters, they are willing to put out like a Survey Monkey or link or QR code in their newsletters that links to some kind of online poll, simple.
Yeah.
They will do that, but no, like a paper thing, it will just be paper in the landfill or whatever. Yeah.
So like, what if we, again, I'll go back to like had a pre-recorded presentation, because another issue with the presentations are like talking off script or something was like questionable and not saying things that were approved by the commission. But if we had a really nice, well done pre-recorded presentation of our PowerPoint, and then we had a commissioner there to answer questions. So there was that personal aspect, or give a poll or something. It's like that would be a lot like easier, because I just think about how much I have to invest in prep and practice if I'm doing a presentation. Like that's not likely to be something people want to volunteer to do as frequently. But if we had it pre-recorded, then we don't have the variables of like someone saying something wrong. It can be evergreen on our website, and we could hand it out, and it can accompany a commissioner to a Rotary club or some group. And then it's like, it's not the time suck. It's like, it's not having to do a PowerPoint. It's just like, here's our presentation. let me answer any questions you have about the commission. And here's a poll, by the way. It's like that's it seems a little more manageable if we're going to continue to do that kind of engagement with folks.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe we like I like these ideas, but I think we have run into the same issue of getting people to go to the neighborhood meetings. I feel like the video could be good if it's just the video and then we can just ask them to play at the meeting. But then I feel like at that point they can email us questions.
Well, and it's like, I mean, no offense. I just think a video recording of a PowerPoint presentation is not that interesting. I mean, and like, I handheld people and like several commissioners, we put that presentation together. And so like, it is my work too that I'm reflecting on when I say that. Like, it's just not so like, I mean, people were kind of falling asleep when Dennis was verbally in person giving the presentation. And so like to then instead have it be a recording of someone talking, it just doesn't seem that engaging.
Yeah.
Like,
No, and
Yeah.
they're not going to
And-
play it. I'll tell you right now. They'll be like, "What? You can't," because they want people to come up and stand up in the front of the room and tell them all the stuff. That's the
Yeah.
environment that it is.
If
They
we
don't-
if we want a video, which would be a lovely idea at some point, we need to get it well produced or
Well
something in
made.
that
Yeah.
not within our
I mean,
resources, I don't think.
it could literally be like commissioners talking about these different topics and going back and forth, and even like video of like actual stuff in Eugene happening. I mean, it might be worth looking into because that would be something that would be
Just,
cool
I
to
mean,
have.
I think if there's interest in that, I mean, I think it's incumbent on the commit. Like, do you guys want to produce that? Like, I mean, there's limited staff support to
Yeah.
help come that to
Yeah,
fruition.
for me, I wouldn't want to even try to do it if we didn't have like a professional, either staff or a contractor to help us and make it really good. I don't think it would be in the end worth it, really.
I'm
I have
confused
to.
what this video is for. I
It's
don't.
Oh, shoot, it's 4 o'clock, you guys.
I mean,
it's a video instead of having people go through and do our PowerPoint presentation talking about all the like what role the
Yeah.
commission plays. So you've seen the PowerPoint, like
oh yeah,
you've done the PowerPoint.
I created it.
Yeah, so it's like it would be a video, an
without it.
evergreen version of that, so we don't have to take a commissioner and require them to do it every single time and have all the stuff that
No,
comes with that.
agreed. I just don't think they're gonna watch it. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, it wouldn't be, it could be used for other things other than that. Like it could be an evergreen existing
Yeah.
thing on our website to talk to people in more detail about what I think people are more inclined to watch videos now that like YouTube is just a thing. That's how people consume information is they're used to watching videos as opposed to reading things or like, and the trouble
But
with
you have to get them to the website. And
well,
I don't-
right, but I'm saying that
Yeah.
the video could be sent out in different ways and accompanied by a commissioner. I know we run out of time and I do have another meeting, but maybe we could just talk more about this the next time. Yeah.
So we
Well,
still do we have a
think in the
chair?
time, yeah, we gotta get a chair before this meeting ends.
I'm
Oh.
I'm happy to be chair. I'll step up to be chair. I'm gonna ask a lot of dumb questions that you guys already know. Like we go
No,
over and over and over
that's
again
good.
and make sure I'm doing it right. But I just,
It's good to get a new perspective on things that we've
unless Lily
already.
was gonna nominate herself.
I mean, I'm like interested, but also like
Okay.
I'm also like it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean?
Sure. You've been on the committee and it would make a lot of sense as a continuation for you to step into chair role if you want. So I'm not.
If,
Can I
if
throw
you
an
need-
idea out there? A little bit of an idea,
Yeah.
just really quick. I know we all need to go, but like, what if, Lily, because you're going to be leaving, maybe Lily does it until you leave, and then Emily will have been around long enough because it is a standing committee. So it's great to have people get experience and be on it, and then know that it's going to kind of carry over into the next.
Yeah.
I think
next
that's a great
year.
idea. That's a great idea.
I love
And
that.
then maybe, and you guys could tag team a little bit or at the end there or something like that. I don't know.
Sure, I like that. I feel like it'd be good, like for both of us.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. Great idea. Thanks, Devin.
Excellent.
Sweet.
I have an
Well,
idea.
there's a session plan too then.
So we call you co-chairs and Lily starts and Emily wraps up or something. How's that
Or
sound?
we can call her the chair, Lily the chair for
Amazing.
now, and then yeah,
Okay, and you can just hand it off.
hand the
Sounds-
baton.
Yeah, great.
Cool.
Lily,
I
is
have-
your sweatshirt an indication that you've made a choice?
no, my best friend goes to Emory.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to go, you guys. I have someone
I know, wait,
here
can
to
we
meet
get
me.
to vote real quick?
Yes.
Oh, we have
Like,
to
I know
vote.
it's
Okay.
formal, but
Yeah.
like it just so.
Okay, I nominate Lily to be chair.
I second.
Oh,
All
All
in
in
favor.
Favor.
I.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank
Okay,
you.
yay.
Bye, everyone.
all right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.